welcome back to Pixel Pals. My name is Jordan Wiegand, and with me today is Casey McGeorge. How are you, Casey?
How is it going, everybody?
Good, good. Glad to be back. We had the awards this past week, but before we get to any of that information and all that stuff, Halo came out, and you have been playing it. So I want to get your thoughts on it. I've not played a Halo game since what was after three ODST.
I think so.
Yeah, so I've played ODST and I played Halo like 2 and 3 and 1, I guess, but uh haven't kept up with it after it moved from Bungie to like 343.
Three four
So
three. Yeah.
yeah, I want to get your thoughts on how Halo's been. I've heard a lot
So
of good things, so I want to get your thoughts.
sure. So this will be there'll be no spoilers in this. I'm not done with the game anyway, but this will be a spoiler free. Um, and then as well, this will be centered on the campaign. I think we talked last week. I don't do a lot of online multiplayer, uh, mainly because I suck at it, especially when it comes to shooters and stuff. I'm not very good. So I can't really offer a lot of interaction as far as the multiplayer goes. I may take a dive into it a little bit later, but for now, I'm just more looking at the single player. This is actually a fantastic game. So it is an open world Halo, which right there, a lot of people might be turned off by open world games because a lot of them are pretty much a lot of the same things. The maps are really big for no reason. There's a lot of silly like side quests and missions, or especially if you do like Ubisoft games, Assassin's Creed and Far Cry. There's just a ton of things all over the map, and then you run around doing silly fetch quests, and they got you doing these silly things all over the place. And sometimes it seems like it just they pad it out just to fill time. Um, I'll say your first hour or so is not open world. It is similar to your old school Halo, where it's very linear and you're kind of forced to go certain directions, blah blah blah. But once you get into the world that opens up, it is really fun. There's no fetch quests. As I was listening to an IGN podcast earlier, they said it the best way. You don't send Master Chief on a fetch quest. Um, it's Master Chief. He doesn't do fetch quests. Like he is who he is, right? Cool. But there's a lot of different things. There's to do. There's bases to capture. Once you capture those bases, that allows you to have different spawn points all over the map where you can go back to. You can re-up your weapon, change your loadout, pull in a different vehicle here, there, do this, that. Um, they have targets all over the map where you can, as far as, a high value target where it gives you this thing for a guy and it tells you where he is, but then you have to go fight him. And when you're going to fight these guys, it's not easy because, once again, from IGN podcast earlier I listened to, most of the stuff was always typically flat. A lot of times you might be fighting uphill to get to these high value targets. And as you're fighting uphill, they are very well guarded. So it's not just like, oh, there's a couple of grunts, maybe one other dude, and then you have like this little mini boss fight. It's nothing like that. Like you're going to spend, a few minutes trying to go through. You might even spend a couple of lives trying to go through and come up with different strategies as far as like, hey, this is where I need to go. Let me try this. Oh, that failed miserably. Let me go back to the books and try it again. Um, it gives you a lot of different ways. There's some people like me who just kind of like, especially the first time you're going into like a base, I'm just gonna run in there and gun it and see what's in there. And a lot of times I don't last very long running in and gunning it. But then it gives me a chance to say, okay, that didn't work. Let me see what else there is. Let me see if there's another way in. I did one earlier. I tried to go into this base. It's got high walls around it, and I tried climbing the walls and getting over. Because once you get over, then you can open up the gate, let your other Marines in, and they can help you out. I got killed both times before I was able to do that. So finally, after like the third or fourth time, I was like, man, let me see if there's a side entrance, a back door. And then I found this little cave. I went through the cave. And there was a collectible in the cave. Cool. And then I got to the other side of the cave, and it led me to the top of this base, where all of a sudden I was basically on top of the base, and it was like a circular base, and I was able to. I had, I was able from the high ground, and I was able to use that, and it was great. Uh, but it took me a while to figure that one out. Um, the vehicles are pretty good. The driving mechanics, it is what it is. It's Halo. It's not a racing game or a driving game. Um, but there's a lot to do, and it's actually really fun. It's not just go down this path, and you're gonna go down this path, and then eventually you'll get to somewhere at the end of this path where you go to another level. It's you can go wherever you want. There's no leveling, so it's not like you're a Master Chief level 7, well, like with Ubisoft games, and then you see, oh, I got to be a level 10 to get this one, so let me do a little grind over here to work my way up and then get back there. Yeah, it's nothing like that. Um, you have a lot of different things. You basically have a grappling hook, so there's a grapple shot now, and there's a lot of different things you can do with this grappling hook that's connected to you. And there's a few other things that you get that can, depending how you want to do it, can change how you look at different levels or the different bases. And it's really fun. You can definitely spend 20, 30 minutes or an hour or so on one of the bosses in different areas. Like, once again, it's not quick. You're going to spend some time. You're probably going to die quite a few times. And I'm only playing it on normal. Once again, I'm not one of these guys who plays it on the harder difficulty levels. I start off with normal. Then I tell myself later I'll go back and play it at a higher difficulty level, and then I never do. Um, but overall, I'm really enjoying it. It was definitely worth it. Apparently, this is going to be, from different interviews the developers at 343 have said over the last year, it's kind of going to be like a Fortnite or a Destiny in a way of they're going to continue to keep adding stuff to it. So it's not necessarily going to be. This one's called Halo Infinite, obviously. So it's not like you're going to get Halo another title like 3 years from now. Apparently, this allows them to add other lands and other bases and various things that maybe they can do smaller chunks of stuff over time instead of taking 6 years to develop a new game.
It's usually what they call games as a service.
Yeah, it is a games as a service. Like I said last week, the multiplayer is free, so anybody can hop on. As of right now, I don't know if it's going to change. There are microtransactions, but it's all for cosmetic stuff. There's, from what I've seen, I've taken a dip into it just to look around and see. There's nothing in there as far as anything that's going to help you do better against other players. It's just different types of armor, or different colors of armor, or different armor pieces, or different decals to put on your vehicles or your gun. Different colors of armor, stuff like that. So it's not like one of these where, oh, we can pay and you can get stronger faster. But I'm definitely enjoying it so far. And I'm looking forward to not only finishing it, but seeing what they come out with later on. I enjoyed, what was it? The Division 2. Same thing. They came out with expansions in other parts over the last few years for both of them. And for me, it was something I really enjoyed. And I can definitely see Halo doing the same thing and adding to the lore and story and everything else.
Interesting. I didn't know all of that stuff about it. I didn't really follow too much of the run up to it, so I am interested to see how it continues.
It is available on Game Pass as well for free.
Oh, there you go. I know that they've done a lot of games on Game Pass recently too.
Yeah, especially for a Microsoft Studios game. It is available for free from day one on Game Pass. So if you have Game Pass either on your Xbox, either the Series X or the One X or the Xbox One, or you have Game Pass on PC, it is there for free. So you can check it out and maybe just take a peek. If you like it, great. If not, you know what? Hey, it's not really costing you anything. You're not blowing 60, $70 to see, and you don't have to worry about that.
Interesting. Yeah. We'll see how it continues because I know Destiny was supposed to be that way, and then they came out with the Destiny 2 anyway. So we'll see if they stick with it and say that they're, that this truly is, I guess, infinite for the time being.
I didn't play Destiny at all, so correct me if I'm wrong. Uh, didn't they come out with Destiny 2 because there were issues with Destiny? So basically, instead of trying to fix it, they kind of fixed it, but came out with a different version in order to get those fixes. And apparently, Destiny 2 was a little bit better than 1.
They couldn't really move anything over. Like from what I had known from people that played Destiny, because I haven't, is that they were sold this idea of, oh, your stuff is always going to be there each time we do it. You'll have those weapons, you'll have those armors, you'll have your titles or whatever other collectibles. And then when they came out with Destiny 2 eventually, which was only a few years later, I think, that they, none of that stuff transferred. So a lot of people felt kind of misled in that regard. I'm not sure on the reason why they did come out with it. Maybe it was to fix stuff. I'm not too well versed in it, but I just know some people that played Destiny that felt, and some of them did not continue with Destiny 2 then because they felt like they would have to start over, which can be frustrating for people if, especially if you put like money into the game. And then if you had to start over, some people, that's a deal breaker. So it's just interesting. I guess we'll see how they continue going. But that's what Casey was doing on his time. What day did that game come out?
That came out on the 11th, I believe, 11th or 12th.
Well, today's the 11th or 12th, so
it came out Wednesday.
Maybe Friday.
No, it was a Wednesday. I think it was a Wednesday.
Oh, okay.
I pre-ordered it from Best Buy and then went to go pick it up. It was Wednesday or Thursday. I pre-ordered from Best Buy, went to go pick it up.
So the 8th or 9th, somewhere around there.
Yeah. I got the physical version of it. Occasionally I get digital downloads, but I prefer the physical version just in case for whatever reason I'm offline. I can still play. But I went, picked it up, came back. It did. I didn't play it right away. I was kind of doing some other stuff and just relaxing, and then eventually I installed it. The install actually didn't take long. I think it only took 45 minutes. Part of that could be my internet because there was a patch as well. Part of that is just why are we installing games on consoles now? And they take an hour or two or whatever to download. But that's just me. I don't know.
Yeah, so it came out the 8th is what I see here. I just Googled it.
Just like there's a I think the next Assassin's Creed update is going to make you basically reinstall the entire game, which is like 100 and something gigabytes. That's a whole nother subject. But once I started it yesterday, and once I started it, honestly, I haven't wanted to put it down. I played till about 2 or 3 in the morning. Got up, watched an episode of Psych while I ate breakfast, and then until we got on here for the podcast, I was playing it.
Nice. Yeah, let me talk about this a bit too. So I played the game this weekend as well, but I had to make space for that in the Matrix demo thing that they came out with. And I have, like a base model PS5 that came out. So it's maybe 500 gigs, maybe that.
I think the PS5, I think it's 660 something gigs after the operating system. Because for whatever reason, it only starts off at like 8 something. I want to say the Series X has a 1 terabyte, but then you can use like 800 something gigs after, the operating system's installed on top of it. But
so, the bad thing is these games just take up so much space, even on these new hardware where, obviously I could only have, I think I had to delete like 2 or 3 games to be able to get some of these things onto my system with enough space because I was, because some of these games are like, they'll range. Like some are at 30, like FIFA's at like 30 gigs, and I still had FIFA 21 on there, so I deleted that because I have 22 now. So I was able to clear up 30 gigs that way. But then had to delete a game that I wasn't playing right now. So that way, I guess whenever I play it again, I'm going to have to reinstall it. But it's kind of frustrating because I had maybe like 5 or 6 games downloaded, and I'm like, it doesn't really allow me to have like the luxury of, because even though I'm a physical person usually, like I'll go buy the physical copy and stuff, you still have to install it. It's, like almost like back in the PC days where you have to get a game and install it so it runs smoother. And
So
that's
two
frustrating.
questions. So 2 questions for you before you
Yeah.
you go on to what you were playing. One is do you plan on installing another drive in your PS5?
Probably whenever I get the money to do so.
And second, you don't play. You said you don't play like Modern Warfare or anything, right?
No.
Because those, be thankful, because those literally take up like 100 something gigs. Especially when you get like Warzone, the campaign and the multiplayer, it can take up like close to half your hard drive space. And then as you start downloading other maps and skins, a lot of that gets ridiculous. For me, this is one advantage I'll say that the Series X and the Series S has over the PS5 is not just the little bit of extra space that it has, but basically it has like a memory card slot from Seagate on the back that come in 1 terabyte things. So all you do is just plug it in the back. It's a little pricey, not gonna lie, like it's not cheap. It's proprietary because Seagate is the only one that makes it, and it's but it's also authorized by Xbox, and has a little logo. So basically, they say it's gonna work with it, good to go. And plug it in the back, it still gives you the same speed. So you can actually even plug in your Series X games or download and play your Series X games off of that as well. You still get the same speeds. It still basically functions as the hard drive in the system. It's compared to the PS5 where I also have like an external hard drive hooked up to my Xbox where I can move stuff if I need to, but I can only play the new stuff off of either the internal or the memory card. Unlike PlayStation 5, where you have to basically take it apart. It's not hard. I've seen the videos. It's a couple snaps for the side plates, some screws to install a solid state drive into it. But that seems to be like a lot of work to me. Some people can do that, especially if they do a lot of PC stuff and they're used to it. But think about like the average like 8-year-old who doesn't know, then he might be relying on his mom or dad or someone like that to like do this. That's a lot of work that you can be wondering like, am I gonna break my console? And even people who I've heard who have done it have said like, man, I was really worried opening this up, like somehow I was going to mess something up in this console. And then you can get a solid state drive with or without a heat sink, and there's all other kinds of stuff. I don't know. To me, that's just one of the small advantages the Xbox has.
Yeah, I'll probably have to just end up, the way I usually do it when I bounce around with this is, um, just if I don't get external storage, but they're actually pretty cheap. I just found a 5 terabyte for 154. That's really good.
Okay, is it like an external hard drive, or is it the solid state drive you can put in to give extra storage to it?
I don't know. I searched external, so it doesn't really
Because the one thing
state
is
on here.
I have an external one hooked up to my PS5 as well. You can move stuff off of it, and you can play PS4 games off of the external hard drive. You can't play PS5 games off of the external hard drive. It has to be installed on that internal hard drive,
Mm-hmm.
or you have to get uh, one of the solid state drives that actually has, that fits all the specs that can fit in the PS5. So like I have one hooked up to it, and I have a bunch of my old PS4 stuff like moved over there. just so I can have the space. But
Yeah, I mean, I think that would even help me a bit is having because like some of the games I've been playing have been like PS4 games. Because this gen hasn't had a lot right now, really. I mean, like a lot of stuff was impacted by COVID and all that kind of stuff. So it's been kind of rough for the first year of launch where I haven't bought that many PS5 exclusive games. Um, though I mean, I have some from Christmas I still haven't gotten around to, and it's Christmas again. I really have to sit down and play some of these. But so what I was playing this weekend to stop complaining about storage space is the Dark Pictures anthology Man of Medan, which is made by Supermassive Games. They also make Until Dawn, which was a favorite of mine on PS4. And they have these, what they call the Dark Picture Anthology, which is going to be 8 games, supposedly. They all range usually around 20 to 30 bucks. They're short, 4 to 5 hours game time. But so this one I beat in 4 hours. I did not get the ending I wanted, so I will have to replay and try to get all the collectibles and stuff. And I think when they're shorter like that, I do have more of a motive to replay them because it's a lot easier to sit down for me for like 4 hours to replay a game than if it's like an 80-hour game and they're like, oh, now replay the whole thing and get a different ending, you know? But I'm really... I really enjoyed it. I started playing Little Hope, which is the next one after that, today. And I think I'm about halfway through that one. But pretty interesting. I ended up having all but 2 of my characters die, I think. Start with 5. One of them was due to like a quick time event that I failed, and she died. And then one of them I made a bad decision, but I was kind of wanting to see what would happen, and one of my characters died in the after the credits, actually. A little like end credit stinger where that character died. And there's a moment where you can like send somebody to get onto a boat while they're getting robbed. Like this, you're like on a fishing boat or a diving boat, and then these fishermen come at some point and they're trying to take over your ship, and you can either try to have somebody run and get on their ship while they're on yours and like take off and try to get help, or you can keep them with you. And if you send them off, I don't want to say what happens, but probably something you wouldn't expect maybe happens. But so that was a little difficult there. I thought I made some good choices that ended up not being good choices. But overall, it was fun. I really enjoyed it. I thought it had some good like jump scare moments. I'm not a big horror guy, but I do like these type of games, with outcomes. And they have this really cool character that's in all of the games so far called the Curator. I'm trying to figure out what his deal is, but he is kind of like, at times after a level or whatever, it'll go back to the Curator and he will kind of give you clues or at least tell you how you're doing, and kind of give you little hints. And he's got like this mysterious, bit of about him that makes him very interesting. And he's in the second game, Little Hope, they're really alluding to maybe that he's not the one in control of all of this, which I thought was very interesting. So I'm hoping maybe later tonight or whatever after this, I might try to finish Little Hope as well, and maybe can talk about that, next time. But so far there's been 3 of these games, and the next game that comes out in 2022 is supposed to be the end of what they're calling Season 1. And I guess the next season would be the other 4 games that they had planned. And I guess if they're hits, they'll keep making them, I guess. But overall, really impressed with, the graphics are really great. And I think the characters have been a lot of fun. They get some, they get some actors in these with their, like Hayden Panettiere was in Until Dawn. And so was Cheyenne from Superstore. She was in Until Dawn as a face model of somebody and played the character.
Real quick, did you see she's doing commercials for Las Vegas?
No, no, I haven't.
Yeah, she was she's doing commercials for like the Vegas Tourism Bureau or whatever, which is like, hey, get your money, like not
Right,
knocking that
right.
in any way. But yeah, I think I saw that not too long after Superstore ended too. But now is this like a point and click? Is this an action adventure game? What kind of game is this?
So I wouldn't say point and click because it's not like a computer game. Like so, it's a kind of like an exploring game. So like in this Man of Medan, you're on this old ship called the Medan that there's actual real rumors of. Like it's almost really a ghost ship that people have been kind of passing stories along on. But you're you find this shipwreck and you get onto it and it starts playing with a lot of the characters' minds, and as you're going through you're looking for clues about maybe what is actually happening. And then a lot of the stuff is either like conversations, like a lot of the conversation stuff that can turn like, I guess there was one way where one of the bad guys that were hijacking our ship, he was starting to go crazy, and I guess you could help him somehow if you picked up the right stuff and if you had the right conversation with him. But I didn't have that, so he ended up killing himself because he was going crazy. Um, so that was interesting. And there's like what they also do is like there's pictures on the wall, and if you find like a painting on the wall of something, sometimes if you click to inspect it, it'll show you a premonition of what's going to happen if you do like a certain thing. It's like a quick 5 to 10 second flash of something that you can rewatch. You can rewatch as many times as you want, but to try to be like, okay, like I saw that guy shoot himself first in this premonition, and then when I got to that conversation, I was like, this must be where he kills himself. So I actually made sure he did because I didn't know if he would be able to kind of get swayed to my side or not, which I guess he can apparently from what I was reading online. So I guess there's different ways you can kind of do it. It's a lot of quick time event type stuff. It's not like a lot of kind of like the Telltale games. If you ever played like Telltale Batman or Walking Dead, kind of very similar with how they have it, but the conversations can have effects as well. Like, and what they call these things, they have like a compass. They have like 8 compasses on the menu that you can look at when you come across something, and if you interact a certain way with it, it'll say like your bearing got changed, and then you can look to see like where you're heading with that track pretty much. Like you found this thing, you left this thing there instead of taking it with you. If you take it with you, it might do something else. Like at one point, there's like a rebreather thing for like scuba diving. And if I would have taken that, apparently I could have got the guy to not kill himself and he could have, we could have done something else. So there's interesting stuff with that. But so far, I'm actually enjoying Little Hope a lot more than Man of Medan. But you can also play with other players, unlike Until Dawn. You can actually play with other players where you play online and they would each take over a different character, I guess. And when you're going through this, whatever their choices make, then you're kind of stuck with their choices and you have to vote and stuff like that. So it's overall very interesting. I haven't done any of the online stuff yet because these games are like about 2 years old. So I'm not sure if there'll be a lot of people playing at the same time I am. But overall interesting. I think the story has been really great. I'm a big story guy for these, so it's been fun.
And is that only available on PC or is that a console as well?
I have it on PS4, so I've been playing on my PS5. It is on PC. I think it might be on. I'm not sure if it's on Xbox or not, because I know they're no longer exclusive with Sony. This company, so I'm not sure what consoles. Oh, it's on Xbox One, PS4, and Windows. Yeah. So they have 3 games so far. They have Man of Medan, Little Hope, House of Ashes. And the next game is called The Devil in Me. Comes out 2022.
I want to say I've heard of Man of Medan before. I haven't played it or anything, but the name does sound familiar. So I may have heard it or may have heard it on a podcast or something before.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. Just being able to, at least with these shorter games, if I replay it, I can replay a game in like a 4 hour sitting or whatever, and it's like watching a movie over again or something, but with different scenes. And there's some levels I didn't even get to play because what happens is you switch between the 5 characters. So when I sent that one on the boat to go get help, he's gone the rest of the game. But if I kept him with me, I would have certain chapters in the story where I'm playing as him. And I missed all of that because I sent him on the boat. So next time I play, I'm going to keep him on the boat instead of having him go off, and we're going to see, what other stuff I missed. And then if I can try to save that, save the girl that got killed, unfortunately, then that was like maybe halfway through the game. So I feel like she probably had some more stuff that I totally missed on. And the achievements that are on this game, like the trophies and stuff, are like, finish a game with no characters. You can finish with none of them surviving. You can finish with all of them surviving. I got the achievement that only the men survived. That wasn't a plan. I'm not like sexist or anything. And then you can have one of only the women surviving. So I have to play this at least like 4 times to try to get all these achievements. And you can also go to certain chapters over again. Like you can kind of scene select as well to try to find some of these premonitions or collectibles that you have to get.
So you brought up your trophies for it. I'll say I've never been able to platinum a game on PlayStation. I think I probably might be able to if I would have done if I did Miles Morales or one of the Spider-Man games. Apparently, those are a little easier than anything else. Or if I just dug in and tried to do what's the robot game that comes with it?
Astro's Playroom. I've platinumed that. That was my first platinum.
Yeah, I heard that's another really, really easy one. And I know they're never going to do this, but hey, video game makers, look, trophies, achievements, and those things are all cool, and I like them. And you get a little sense of pride. But hey, can we not put some of the stuff behind multiplayer things?
Mm-hmm.
Like, can we have maybe a whole separate platinum for a multiplayer for a platinum for multiplayer achievements or multiplayer trophies, and then maybe a platinum for single player trophies? Because there's a lot of games some of us just don't want to play multiplayer on. And then I got either I'm just never going to get all the achievements or trophies, or then I got to sit there, and then some of them are just utterly ridiculous. Like if you look at some of the game Gears of War trophies or achievements some of them have like 10,000 kills. Some of them have had things where it's like you got to be number 1 ranked in the world. Like really? Like no, or kill the person. It's just I don't know. It's a little frustrating sometimes. Can we keep some of it fairly simple? That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, this one does have like achievements for like doing multiplayer, like playing with friends and stuff on it. So I'll have to see if I can get people to play with me on that. But other than that, I think I should be able to get all of them pretty easily, just from replaying. So hopefully.
I don't even mind ones for replaying and maybe going through a playthrough, as a good or evil,
Right.
like getting different endings. Like those are cool. But like I said, can we not have like ridiculously stupid ones of 20,000 kills in multiplayer or being number 1 ranked in the world or just various things in multiplayer? Because it's just, I don't know. It's just me. It can't. I know it's not just me out there who likes some of these, but it's just not fun because you realize you'll never get all of them.
Yeah, there's some that like when I've played FIFA 21 for about a year, and I have I think 3 trophies for it because some of them were like you have to go online and or you have to do this stuff with like FIFA Ultimate Team, and I kind of hate that stuff. So I got like score a goal from a free kick, and I've jump into a sim match in career mode and attend a pre-match and post-match press conference. Like I got stuff. Some of them are difficult, or like you said, when you're going online, it might be like get 50 headshots or whatever. So I don't have time for that. I don't. But yeah. So hopefully I'll have some more to hopefully I'll have more to report next time here. But other than that, I guess we can get started on the actual Game Award news. So we're going to lead off here with the winners of the categories here. I did watch a little bit of. I did catch a little bit of this. Like the actual award show while I was waiting for my wife to do something.
Was it on TV? Was it streaming?
YouTube. It was like YouTube and Twitch and all that kind of stuff.
Because I mean, you know this, and I've talked about it before on other podcasts. I don't have cable or anything, so I haven't had cable. I've cut the cord 10, 15 years ago at this point, honestly. I just rely on a couple streaming services and online right now for all my stuff, which Jesus, sorry, which is a little frustrating at times, but it's getting better because now there's actually stuff I can watch online or through streaming that I couldn't before. But honestly, I've never really been into a award show, so I don't know. I don't know if I would ever watch an actual award show for video games. Like it's a little more difficult to watch. It's difficult for me to watch an award show in general. The last one I watched must have been the VMAs 10, 15 years ago, maybe more than that. I'm talking like early 2000s VMAs with like Britney Spears and Christina Aguilera and various things. That's the last award show I probably watched that I would have even bothered to care to watch at all. So I don't know.
Yeah, this was by the time I was watching it, it was a lot of just it was just a lot of like world premiere stuff at that point. They were showing a lot of trailers and announcements. I only saw maybe actual 3
Awards given out.
yeah, maybe that was it. And I watched it for maybe like an hour or so actually, because I was waiting for my wife to come up before we started watching one of the Spider-Man movies. As we're getting ready for that. So I was, just having it on. I got to see like the Sonic movie trailer. I got to see a few things that I don't recall, like the Sonic game that they were coming out with as well. But yeah, I mean it's all right. I mean some of the stuff is kind of was kind of odd, but I know I've watched like maybe 2 years ago. I watched Game Awards because I was waiting for some sort of reveals and stuff, and it's not really like a great it's not a great award show. I mean it's okay.
From what I gather, people are saying that Jeff Keighley's trying to turn it more into an E3 type thing where it's more about the reveals and the various other things that people get to see. I know, in all fairness, like who really knows who does voting on any of these award shows in general? Like take the Heisman for example. Like I think there's 900 some votes out there for Heisman, including some people who probably shouldn't have a Heisman vote at all. And then Nissan gets together and does an online thing, and one vote out of those 900 goes to the fans for the Heisman. Makes no sense. But sure, whatever. I just I mean there's no real, so like with television and movies you have various academies, Academy of Motion Picture and Television and all these other things, Critics' Choice Awards, various other organizations that are in charge and have their own voting blocks set up. I don't know who does any of the voting for the VGAs. I'm sure some of your things like IGN or some of your major things like that might have a vote, but I don't know how transparent it is. I'm not gonna say anything's rigged because I know nothing about it. But who's to say like how? Who knows what goes on into it? Is what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm. So
So
good.
I was gonna say I'd like maybe a little bit more of if there is going to be one like that, maybe like I like the idea of the end of the year. This time of year is good for it, but to me, there should be like a set number of a set number of panels. People should know who are on these panels or whatever that are voting for it, and it should kind of be taken seriously. Um, I don't even necessarily mind having reveals or trailers or things with it, but I think they could just do a little bit better job of it.
Well, I think it's gonna grow. I mean, when I looked at a history of what's been revealed at a game awards, like to be honest, there hasn't been a lot revealed at these awards in the past. So the fact that I think like this year probably had the most reveals, and I'm assuming it's just gonna grow every year to where it is like where we'll look at it and think, okay, they actually had some big games revealed this time because they didn't have super much this
Did
time.
they?
I mean, they had some big stuff. They did.
Sure. I
You may not like it, Case, but they had big franchises revealed here that are going to, that make a difference. Now, some of the bad thing is with the way games are revealed, some of these games are, 3, 4, 5 years away. Um, Unfortunately.
I think as well too. Uh, E3's pretty much kind of dead at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there wasn't one last year, obviously, because of the pandemic. They tried to do a digital only one this year, but they were still charging. The ESA was still trying to charge prices as if they were actually having a physical booth in downtown Los Angeles for E3. So it was like 20 grand or something for and the last couple of years have shown that Sony and Microsoft, Nintendo, and these other companies can just say, "Hey, we can do reveals online on our own and get just as much traffic, and we don't have to pay ridiculous amounts of money." Um, but I think something like this might be better if they can just do something with it. I think something like this wouldn't be bad.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's talk some of the awards first here. We had Game of the Year, It Takes Two, which may be a surprise winner. I do want to play this game though, because like my wife, like I said, had a really fun time with Astrobot, and I've heard some good about about this game. So I think maybe that'd be a fun game for me and her to play together at some
So,
point.
from a lot of people who've played it, I've heard they have had fun with it. Um, it is an enjoyable game. I've never played it, so I can't really. I guess I can't really say, but so there wasn't a lot of heavy hitters released this year. Not like what was it, 2018, where you had God of War, and you had like these massive games where you were looking at like who's gonna win Game of the Year, and it was. I think that was the year it was like God of War, Red Dead Redemption 2. Like there were these massive games that were just phenomenal that were released that year. This year, obviously because of conditions that we can't control, a lot of stuff's been delayed and delayed again, and delayed even more. So it wasn't a huge like a heavy hitters list. But so for this one you had Deathloop, It Takes Two, Metroid Dread, Psychonauts 2, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, and Resident Evil Village. It Takes Two over those? Like, okay, I guess. Um, I know Psychonauts has a big fan base and people were happy when that came back. Ratchet and Clank was got nothing but like massive reviews, and it's up for a lot of Game of the Year stuff. Uh, Deathloop was different people had different opinions, but it's also up for a lot of Game of the Year stuff. Same thing with Metroid Dread, but that's why I don't get It Takes Two. But once again, that's just me. I also can't really say because I never played it. So yeah.
Yeah, I just from like the way I was scrolling on like throughout the year, I was thinking like Deathloop would win this because of the way people talked about it. But I'm actually glad. Like, I mean, Hazelight is the company that made It Takes Two, um, published by Electronic Arts, but they have made two games. So I like the fact that this kind of smaller publisher was able to win it. They've made A Way Out, which was another co-op game, and It Takes Two. So both very different art styles, both kind of based around being able to play either couch co-op or online co-op. Um, Also, I would just want to say this is kind of stupid. With Hazelight Studios tried to file a trademark for It Takes Two, but Take Two Interactive, the game company, filed a trademark complaint arguing it's too close to their trademark, which is just stupid. Take
I
Two
don't think it
Interactive is
is.
nothing close to It Takes Two. And one's a game and one's a studio. It's not even close.
So yes, but no. So part of that is the way it was explained to me before, and this comes from a wrestling podcast, but it had to do with trademarks there. It, you can file a trademark infringement thing if you believe it can cause confusion in the marketplace. Now, with them both being video game companies, or one's a video game company, one's a video game, I don't know how many people would be trying to look up Take Two Interactive, but they have a right, and people may say it's flimsy, but I can understand them saying, hey, like, people may be trying to look us up and get them and vice versa. Like, this is one of those things where it sounds silly, but when I try and just take a step back and look at it objectively, like, yeah, I can kind of get that one.
Yeah, it's still stupid.
Look, the World Wildlife Federation filed lawsuits in the U.S. for years, wasn't able to make it work. They filed a lawsuit overseas in England, and that's why it was changed from WWF to WWE, because they won a lawsuit in England. Because according to them, people were confusing the World Wrestling Federation with the World Wildlife Fund. How much of that was happening, I don't know, but I can see it being okay. You know what? That's fairly legitimate.
Best game direction was Deathloop. So that's outstanding creative vision and innovation in game direction and design. So that won over It Takes Two, Returnal, Psychonauts, and Ratchet and Clank.
And from having played Deathloop, I will say the aspect of basically Groundhog's Day over and over again, but sometimes you get to restart with some things and get to keep it. Um, there's been a few time loop games this year. Haven't played them all. I have played Deathloop, um, and I think it did a really good job. And various things that are in that, I think it was outstanding. So I can get behind that.
Best narrative. This one shocked me actually. I saw this. This is one of the ones I saw given out. And my wife said, "Who do you think's going to win?" And I said, "I think Life is Strange: True Colors is going to win." Because Life is Strange, the first game anyway that I played, had really great narrative. So I felt like that they've continued that. I don't know, but uh, it was Deathloop, It Takes Two, Life is Strange: True Colors, Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, and Psychonauts 2, and Guardians of the Galaxy 1. And I thought that was very shocking. I did ask for this for Christmas, so I guess I'll be able to see if it does have the best narrative. Hopefully, if I do receive this for Christmas. But I
Uh,
have heard good things. I mean, this was a lot of people were very down on this game until it came out, and then they were like, "Wow, this is actually good." So it must have won some sort of points over for people.
so same thing. I have heard good things about this game. I haven't played it. I'm not really interested in playing it, so I think I'm going to skip that one. But somebody did bring up a good point on a podcast I listened to. Uh, Said, okay, and he wasn't knocking it. He did say it was a good game, but his thought was, is it a good game because it's a good game? Or is it a good game because Avengers was so bad and so badly reviewed and people were so down on it that this kind of shocked people when it came out, that it maybe tilted their opinion and changed their opinion in favor of it. Now, not to say, once again, he did say he enjoyed it, but he was like, had this came out before Avengers, would it have been as good of a game? Or would it have been reviewed as well?
I think it probably would have. I think a lot of people. I think a lot of the not media type people probably have no idea this is made by the same people as Avengers. They probably have no clue. They're probably just like, oh, Guardians of the Galaxy, I like the movie, I'll play this game, whatever. And I think a lot of those people have really enjoyed this. So I do think, you know, for people that are in the know of video games and stuff, I could see that argument maybe. But I think the fact that it won Best Narrative and not like Game of the Year or anything, I think shows that it probably does have a strong narrative that is putting together and not just a palate cleanser for Avengers.
Yeah.
And I thought Avengers was actually good. I mean, I played the story mode. I thought the story mode of Avengers was good. It's more of like the other things that are not so great. The games of service part for Avengers.
I think for me the biggest thing with either of these is it's just way too late. Um, Avengers came out 2-3 years after Endgame. You know,
One came out in 2020.
when did Endgame come out? Was it
2019?
But it still came out after Endgame. And Endgame was this culmination of like 12 years of stuff. I think maybe had it came out, obviously had there been some things different with the game, but had it came out while before Endgame or just with a lot more time on it instead of after, where people might have had fatigue on the whole thing with Avengers, it could have been received differently. Same thing with this. Like, there's this huge gap between Guardians of the Galaxy 2 and 3, and we still have at least another year, if not more, before we get another Guardians of the Galaxy.
May of 2023, yeah.
So, I mean, once again, I'm not saying it's a bad game, but I think stuff like that, just timing on those games might have had a lot to do with it too. They might have been considered better or something had they been pushed forward. But
I'm not sure. I do think Avengers came out at an okay time. I think the issue is just people were very down on what happened. Is Avengers came out at a time where people are kind of fed up with this games of a service thing, where they're kind of fed up with microtransactions or having ridiculous costs for costumes and all this kind of stuff that Avengers does have. I think like the actual, from what I always read from people that have played the story mode as well, is that the story mode was enjoyable, short, enjoyable, and then it's the multiplayer aspect that a lot of people don't like. And I was like, well, I'm not really going to play the multiplayer anyway. So I didn't have, I mean, so I think if you didn't have as much of like the microtransactions and gave costumes, like the Spider-Man game gives costumes out, you just by collecting collectibles and stuff and not having to pay like the equivalent of probably like $10 a costume, or you can save up your stuff from doing raids or whatever.
I think I saw online the amount it would cost to buy all of the stuff in Avengers, and it was ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. I think that's the main complaint I always see from people about it is that, and then like the online stuff. So I do think if the game released like Guardians of the Galaxy did, where it didn't have a lot of that stuff, I think people would probably have really looked at that a lot better.
$3,317.50.
That's crazy.
I think also, I heard one thing I heard too was the repetition. That it got really, really repetitive over time.
Yeah.
Up next, we have Best Art Direction for outstanding creative and or technical achievement in artistic design and animation. Um, the winner was Deathloop.
Yeah, I saw this given out as well, and I actually, after playing not any of these, but seeing clips of all these games, so I'm not very coming from a knowledgeable base, I guess. I really liked the look of the Artful Escape when it came up on the screen. I thought that may have had a chance, but Deathloop was the one to win that.
I saw stuff from Psychonauts, Ratchet and Clank, and obviously Deathloop because I played it. So I can't speak to the other ones, but I did like the art design in Deathloop. Best score / music for outstanding music inclusive of score, original song, and or licensed soundtrack. Nier Replicant. I'm just gonna say Nier Replicant because there's like 56 numbers.
Version 1.22474487139.
Okay, first of all, people who make Nier Replicant, that's way too long of a title. Okay, if you're gonna put, and I know it's not the case, but if you're gonna put pie on a box cover, okay, that's just ridiculous.
I thought it was gonna be like I thought that was just like the actual like software number, like the version number, but that's the real name. That's
I honestly I thought this one would have either gone to Guardians of the Galaxy because anyone who's seen the movies knows Peter Quill is still kind of stuck in the 80s and has these mixtapes and various things, and they've had great soundtracks in those movies and things.
Mm-hmm.
Or Cyberpunk, because Cyberpunk is a good game, regardless of the issues it has had, and the music and soundtrack definitely fits that game really well. So I thought that could have. I thought maybe that was a chance for CD Projekt Red to actually come away with Cyberpunk with something positive out of it. But I don't know. I can't really speak to any of the other ones, especially Nier Replicant version Pi. I don't know. Best audio design. Recognizing the best in-game audio and sound design. Winner was Forza Horizon 5.
Not a shock.
No, apparently the Forza games are done really well. So one thing I will say, which I never thought I would get into, is I'm actually starting to play games with headphones now.
Mm-hmm.
As I said last week, I'm lucky I have both a PS5 and a Series X. And I have both the Microsoft wireless headset and I got the PS5 wireless headset. Two reasons. One, I live in an apartment and I do have a nice surround sound system, but I live in an apartment, so I don't want my neighbors calling the cops on me every other day. Two, it becomes hard because especially if you got the system set up the right way, you can turn it down enough to where the bass isn't going to disturb your neighbors, but then you can't necessarily hear what's going on the screen. But then once you turn it up so you can hear what's actually going on the screen, then the bass is too much. And then if you're in a house, it's not a big deal. But once again, I live in an apartment and I live upstairs. So I have someone next to me and someone downstairs. So that obviously complicates things. I never thought I would get into it because I heard, especially people who play multiplayer games, they do rely on them a lot. But as I started playing some of these games, I realized not only just for this small space I live in, but for the fact that it does give me a chance to hear some things better. Mm-hmm. So I can hear things coming around me. I can use my sensory as far as like, am I hearing something on the right, left, forward, backwards? Like, is someone trying to creep up on me? I'm hearing that better. And that's actually more enjoyable. So I'm starting to appreciate sound design in games more now that I'm actually hearing it in a more kind of closed-in space.
Yeah, I started using I don't have like any special headphones. I used to just plug in headphones to like these cheap Five Below headphones, into my console when I was living at my parents' house still, and my wife would sleep into before we were married, sleep into like midnight, sleep into like 12 p.m. and I want to play video games. I'd be able to be like, pop those on, and I could just sit there and play these games that I wanted to listen to, where I actually have to listen to story or whatever with the headphones on, and that was nice. But now at home, I don't really do it that much unless if it's something that, a game. Like if she was going to, she probably wouldn't be able to listen to any of these dark picture anthology games, so I'd probably have to pop those on. But I found the list of soundtrack for Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm not sure how this did not win. Okay, they have Blondie, Call Me on there, Blue Oyster Cult, Don't Fear the Reaper, Wang Chung, Everybody Have Fun Tonight, Tears for Fear, Everybody Wants to Rule the World, Europe, The Final Countdown, Pat Benatar, Hit Me With Your Best Shot, Bonnie Tyler, Holding Out for a Hero, Flock of Seagulls, I Ran, Motley Crue, Kickstart My Heart, Rick Astley, Never Gonna Give You Up, Def Leppard, Rock Rock Till You Drop, Aha, Take On Me, Soft Cell, Tainted Love, Wham, Wake Me Up Before You Go Go, Starship, We Built This City, and even more than what I listed here. So how did that not win?
How did they afford all of those for the game?
Seriously, yeah.
Like that is a massive list, and
Some
those
big
are
songs.
pretty good games. But I just want to say, like I said, I started appreciating sound design more, especially depending on what kind of game you're playing. Like I said, the PS5 version and the Xbox version, I think they're only $100, but they do come with surround sound like 5.1 or maybe 7.1. I think it's 5.1, and they work really well. I give those a try. I think you might enjoy those, and depending on the kind of game you play, it definitely might have. You might be able to get more out of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Up next, Best Performance, awarded to an individual for voiceover acting, motion, and/or performance capture. Maggie Robertson, Resident Evil Village for Lady D.
Yeah, this was on. This was the one that was on when I actually turned when I turned the game, turned the show on. This is the one that was being given out. I'm not sure who she is. I've never played Resident Evil. They don't really feel like they fit my style, I guess. I'm actually surprised like Giancarlo didn't win just for his name, but maybe he didn't do as good of a job. I don't know.
I don't know. I haven't done it. I didn't want to pick up Far Cry 6. She's a singer, actress, and voice actress. But I can understand why, because when Resident Evil Village or Resident Evil 8, whatever you choose to call it, was initially announced and the first trailers and things came out, and they showed Lady D, there were many people all over the world who went very horny for Lady D. She's apparently like a 10-foot tall vampire lady that a lot of people really, really had a thing for. Sure, whatever floats your boat. Knock yourself out. The only bad thing I've heard was that she's not in the game as much as they would have liked. Now I don't know.
That's interesting then. So she won without being like a lot in it? That seems kind of weird.
Well, okay. Who was it? Silence of the Lambs. Anthony Hopkins was only in Silence of the Lambs for like 9 minutes and got an Oscar out of it. So it can happen.
Yeah, interesting. Games for Impact, a thought-provoking game with the pro-social meaning or message. Life is Strange: True Colors won that game. Won that award.
I've heard the first Life is Strange did have a lot of. There was a lot going on with that one. I haven't had a chance to play it.
It's good. Yeah, I really liked Life is Strange. I just haven't been able to play the second one or this one yet.
Let's see, what do we have? Best ongoing game. For outstanding development of ongoing content that evolves the player experience over time. This one I think could have went to just about any of the people on the list. Final Fantasy 14 Online. And apparently that game initially, I think, started out not very good, but has since evolved and people really love it now. I think even as much as like it actually had to come down off of PlayStation for a while because the servers weren't able to handle it. So it got really weird where it wasn't available, and it wasn't because it was a bad game or anything, but because the servers just couldn't handle the amount of traffic it was getting, especially during the pandemic where everyone was staying at home playing games. Apex Legend, Call of Duty Warzone, Fortnite, and Genshin Impact. I don't really play any of those except for Call of Duty a little bit. But yeah, I could have seen just about any of those winning that one.
Yeah. Best indie game, so right up Casey's alley. For outstanding creative and technical achievement in a game made outside the traditional publisher system. Yeah, 12 Minutes, Death's Door, Kena, The Bridge of Spirits, Inscription, and Loop Hero. And Kena, Bridge of Spirits was the winner. I wonder what 12 Minutes is.
That one, okay. That one is a time loop game. So apparently that has some big name actors in it and actresses. Daisy Ridley plays in it, has a voice in it. Apparently you have to, you play as this husband. Daisy Ridley plays your wife.
James McAvoy is the guy.
James McAvoy, yeah. and there's another big name that plays like a police officer or something in there. But you have to keep redoing this 12-minute loop over and over until you figure out why what happens.
William Dafoe is the cop. Okay.
So, but like it's a 12-minute loop that just plays over and over. And eventually there's like death or whatever that happens. But you keep the memories of what's going on, but you can, as you go through more and more, you get to ask different questions or based on certain things, blah, blah, blah. So that one, I want to say that one was very divisive. Simply because some people liked it, some people didn't, especially as the story unfolded. That was some where people were on. It wasn't a mad game. It was either people were like, "Oh, this is a great game," or some people just were not happy with the game at all.
This sounds awesome, by the way. So I'm reading it now, and it's from the top-down perspective. It's set in an apartment shared by McAvoy and Ridley. It has a main living area, a kitchen area, bedroom, a bathroom, and a closet. And you control the husband during the events in the style of a point-and-click adventure game. It's on all of the systems, though. Over the course of the first 10 minutes, the husband learns his wife is pregnant, and then a cop is going to arrive and accuse the wife of murdering her father several years ago. So then what happens is the loop happens, and now you have to try to prevent your wife from getting arrested and or killed, or stop what's happening, but also trying to explore and figure out why the cop suspects this, and you're the only character that retains the knowledge of previous cycles. And it says it is about, the loop is really about 10 minutes in real time and is expected to take a player 6 or 8 hours to complete.
And a lot of people say that's fairly accurate. Like they were able to finish it around like 7.5 hours. Some more longer, shorter, but I'm
gonna write this. I'm gonna add this to like a wish list or something. I gotta.
Like I said, that's been a lot of stuff. People were just on either side of how good it was.
Sounds interesting.
Sticking with my alley, best debut indie game also went to Kena, Bridge of Spirits. Others nominated were Sable, Awful Escape, Forgotten City, and Valheim, which I know absolutely nothing about.
Oh wow, 12 Minutes just came out like this month. December 7th. Oh, it was August on Xbox and December for every other system. Okay. It's also on Switch. That's interesting. Yeah, best debut indie game. Okay. Oh, from a new studio. Okay, so they made that's interesting. Okay, what else do we have? We have best mobile game, which was Genshin Impact. It beat League of Legends, Pokemon Unite, Marvel Future Revolution, and Fantasian. Best community support, Final Fantasy 14 again. Beat Apex Legends, Destiny 2, Fortnite, No Man's Sky. Best VR and AR game was Resident Evil 4. It beat Sniper Elite, Lone Echo, I Expect You to Die 2, and Hitman 3.
Innovation and accessibility. Software or hardware that's pushing the medium forward by adding features, technology, and content to help games be played and enjoyed by an even wider audience. Forza Horizon 5, which I will say, this is something that is, I guess, over the last year or so, has been publishers and studios have been doing a lot better about making games accessible for various different people. In some of these games, the accessibility options that they have for people who need them are great. And honestly, I'm just glad that it opens a game to a wider audience. That means more people can play these games.
Yeah, definitely.
Best action game.
Yeah, best action game, which is a game primarily focused on combat. And it was Returnal, surprise win over, I would say surprise win over like Deathloop, because that was nominated for Game of the Year. And you have Returnal, who wasn't, ending up winning best action game.
That's another one that is kind of, it's a PS5 exclusive. I've heard various things about it. Some people really liked it, some people didn't. One of the biggest things that people didn't like that was just recently fixed was the fact that for a while the loop that you play on can take like an hour or two, and there was no way to like pause it or save it in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
Best action adventure game. Best action adventure game combining combat with traversal and public puzzle solving. Metroid Dread. As far as I've played Metroid Dread, and I mean, come on, it has its own type of game named after it, the Metroidvania. So I don't know how you're gonna win a game, an action adventure game, when Metroid is in it, when it's basically has its own kind of game named after it.
Yeah, it was up against Guardians of the Galaxy, Ratchet and Clank, Resident Evil Village, and Psychonauts 2. Best RPG. So, best game designed with rich player character customization progression. Cyberpunk 2077, Monster Hunter Rise, Scarlet Nexus, Shin Megami Tensei 5, and Tales of Arise, which is the game that had won. I'm not familiar with Tales of Arise, so I'm not sure much on that one.
The only one I have played is Cyberpunk.
Right, yeah. We had best fighting game around head-to-head combat. Guilty Gear Strive was the winner. Not familiar with that one, but also nominated Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl.
The only one I know of in that list is Virtual Fighter. And I thought they quit making Virtual Fighter games like 10 years ago.
Guess
Obviously,
not.
I was wrong. Best family game. Appropriate for family play, irrespective of genre or platform.
Not a big surprise. It Takes Two is the winner of this. If it's Game of the Year, it should win its category as well. So, makes sense. It was up against Mario Party, New Pokemon Snap, Super Mario 3D World, and WarioWare. So it went up against 4 Nintendo games and won.
In all fairness, like if you're gonna ask me like who would make the best family game, I would imagine it would be something from or on a Nintendo platform.
Yes, exactly. So it's surprising it was able to beat 4 of those. Best sports and racing game, Forza Horizon 5.
That doesn't surprise me considering FIFA is people are kind of getting a little frustrated with FIFA, especially when it comes to Ultimate Team. But Forza Horizon 5 might be a racing or driving game that can actually win Game of the Year in a lot of people's or a lot of these media companies that do their polls and things. So for the Forza Horizon games are supposed to be spectacular. I may check that one out, but I don't know.
Best sim and strategy game, Age of Empires 4. Which, not shocking to me. I haven't played that one. I've played Age of Empires 3, I think, at a friend's house a while ago. Or maybe it was Age of Empires 2. But uh it's a simulation game, real-time strategy type game. It's not a shock that would win. After I think a lengthy, like, it wasn't, they weren't really making any new Age of Empire games. This game came out of nowhere really, and I think revitalized, and there you go, wins best sim strategy.
Best multiplayer. Outstanding online multiplayer gameplay and design, including co-op and massive multiplayer experiences irrespective of genre or platform. Once again, It Takes Two. Um, Back for Blood was also nominated, which I thought about getting because I remember the old Left 4 Deads. Those were pretty good. I've heard a lot of good things about Knockout City. I've heard Knockout City is really, really good. And it's supposed to be really fun.
So is Back for Blood a Left 4 Dead revitalizing?
It is from the people who made the original Left 4 Dead.
Okay.
Valve owns the IP and the copyright on Left 4 Dead, but it's from a lot of the same original people who made it. So that's why it's called Back for Blood. It's what they call a spiritual successor.
Okay. Yeah, so let's skip the content creator ones and all that kind of stuff. Well, let's go to the most anticipated, so we can kind of also talk about some of these reveals too. And plus, I don't know any of these people. So, most anticipated game, recognizing an announced game that has demonstrably illustrated potential to push the gaming medium forward: Elden Ring, God of War Ragnarok, Horizon Forbidden West, the sequel of Legend of the Zelda Breath of the Wild, and Starfield. And Elden Ring is the one that wins. This is the one that's co-written by George R.R. Martin.
And it's from the people who make the Dark Souls games.
Yes, I'm not a big Dark Souls guy, so
I'm not either. I know some gameplay came out from it. Apparently, it was, people are enjoying whatever gameplay they've seen and played of it. I guess it came out. George R.R. Martin said he did his piece writing this a long time ago. He's been done with it for a couple of years. So anybody who hears this and is wondering where his other books from the Game of Thrones series are, it's not like he was doing this now instead. He's been
no, but he was doing that, still, like, instead of the books.
Sure. Game of Thrones isn't my thing. I should check it out, but I haven't. And honestly, I could have seen any of these winning, because if they would have dropped like this massive trailer and a release date for any of these things, with the exception of Starfield, because Starfield actually already has an actual release date, as well as Horizon Forbidden West. They have, at least for now, set release dates. But if they would have dropped like a trailer with gameplay footage for any of these, I think the internet would have gone crazy.
Yeah.
Especially, I hate to say it, especially the Breath of the Wild sequel. Even if they would have just put up like a teaser and like the name of the sequel, like, people would have lost their minds.
Yeah. It's a shame we didn't get that. But what we did get, we got some big reveals. We got, as I talked about last week, Star Wars Eclipse, which is developed by Quantic Dream, who made Detroit Become Human and Heavy Rain, two of my favorite games. Set in the High Republic era, it is going to have multiple playable characters and a branching story, though this is one of the ones that is still in early development, and it could be 3 to 4 years away. But I thought the cinematic for this was fantastic, and hopefully it delivers. But just having more Star Wars games, EA had an exclusive license for like 10 years and made Fallen Order and 2 Battlefronts. That's it.
Now, in all fairness, there was other stuff that was canceled. There was a Battlefront 3. There was a game from Amy Hennig, I think.
Yes, there was. It was supposed to be an Uncharted type game with like a smuggler type character that went yeah, it got canceled. But I think that just shows that EA has no idea what they're doing with the license. So, the license is no longer exclusive anymore, which is why we're getting this Knights of the Old Republic remake, which is why we're getting this. Um, so thankfully, Disney is not making this exclusive with EA anymore, and we can get different companies making different games. Because I liked Fallen Order and I liked Battlefront, but to only release like 3 games during your 10-year exclusive window based around Star Wars, when you probably had like, I mean, they also released Squadrons, but I'm pretty sure it was used with that was made with the Battlefront engine. But I mean, it was a short game, I think. But um, they should have been giving almost every one of their studios a Star Wars game, and they had at least 1 or 2 canceled. And that's the frustrating thing when they announce this stuff so far ahead of time and then it ends up getting canceled. So while I'm really excited about this game, I'm just holding my breath because, Star Wars itself has not had a great track record with the movies even getting announced and getting canceled and stuff. So I'm holding out hope that this actually happens.
For me, the one I'm probably most excited about, Wonder Woman.
Yes, that was the next one I was going to talk about.
I think I haven't seen 1984 yet, but over this year I finally saw the original Wonder Woman movie that came out a couple years ago. I thought it was great. Doesn't help that it doesn't take much to fall in love with Gal Gadot.
Mm-hmm.
I also watched her movie that was on Netflix. And I thought it was better than people were saying, but it's another topic. I like the idea of a Wonder Woman game. The people who made Middle Earth: Shadow of Mordor, Monolith Productions, are making it. It's supposed to be a third-person action game that will use their Nemesis system that they have copied.
That makes me very excited. I own the Shadow of Mordor games. I haven't played them yet. They're one of the ones that I can't fit on my hard drive right now. But, I know about the Nemesis system, which is, for people that don't know, if you were to like defeat a villain or they somehow come back, like they're not actually dead or whatever at times, and they'll kind of go up against you a few times, and it assigns like random names to some of these, like in the Mordor games, like to an orc or to, and they could get promoted up to like captain of their command now because you took out some of the other captains, and now they're promoted and they have a vendetta against you. And I think this could work really well with like a Wonder Woman game.
And they keep scars and various things, and they remember you. It apparently a lot of people who've played those games said the Nemesis system could have been like the next big thing in gaming, and people wondered why for a while it was never used. But then we found out, I want to say earlier this year or last year, that Warner Brothers and Monolith trademarked it.
They put a patent for it too.
Put a patent on it, rather, yeah. So they're the only ones who can use it, unless someone wants to pay a ridiculous amount of money, and I don't think they will. But I think Wonder Woman has potential to do a lot of different things.
Same. I think you can even use this same thing for like a Superman game, because that would make Superman a little bit. People always say Superman be too difficult to do because of his powers and stuff and his super strength and how much of a steamroll it would be for him. But Wonder Woman has a lot of the same things. Now, of course, she's going to be apparently this is taking place mostly in Themyscira, so she'll be up against people that are kind of similar in power to her. But if you were to give, Superman some more like aliens and stuff to face and not just regular people to beat up on, then it could probably work the same way. Alan Wake 2 was announced, which I know a lot of people really liked the first one. This is going to be a survival horror game. It's been 10 years since the last Alan Wake. They did for Alan Wake as well that you can play on PS4 and Xbox One, I guess. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
maybe just PS4.
I know the same people who make this make Control. So part of one of the DLCs for Control actually had some things kind of connected to the Alan Wake universe in it, apparently. So it was one of those people kind of knew or felt it was coming. It was just a matter of
Mm-hmm.
when it was going to be
Yeah, I
announced.
thought I've heard rumors about it for a while.
Um, we weren't sure, but especially when they did the re-release for Alan Wake, and apparently that got some pretty good reviews and things. That's one of those that, like I said, we knew it was coming. We just wasn't sure when the announcement was gonna, kind of going to come, and we have it now. Never played the first one. I'm not really. I may check it out, but I'm not really sure.
I know my
Um,
cousin loved it when it, a while ago. I know he was big on it, so I
another
do want to
one,
give it a try.
another one I might be interested in. Uh, Another trailer and I guess some gameplay from Hellblade 2: Senua's Saga came out. And this apparently looks phenomenal. Um, haven't tried the original Hellblade. I may try it. Apparently, it's not a very long game, but when I looked it up, it got some really great reviews. So I don't know how I missed it. Um,
Yeah, I don't know.
it's
This
an
one,
Xbox exclusive, so
yeah, this one looks okay, I guess. Um, Another, they announced Sonic Frontiers. That one looks like Sonic in like an actual like he's in an open world apparently. And it looks more like the real world. Like it looks, like very high def like graphics and stuff. Um, they showed Lord of the Rings Gollum, which I'm just not sure. Did you see this? I'm not sure how this is
I
going to be. It's a stealth-based game, but how much can you really base around Gollum? I think this will be a big stretch. I don't see this being a big game at all.
I just have to be curious when it's going to be set, um, because Tolkien, the Tolkien's estate and everything do control, rightfully so. They're very not controlling, but they're very strict on his things that involve his universe there. So they're not gonna just let just kind of like how Disney is with Star Wars and the canon. They don't want people just making random things that kind of confuse the canon or whatever. So I get that. Once again, not knocking that at all. But as far as uh, as far as the whole Gollum and Schmeagol thing like that, that's kind of set as far as what happened in the world of the Hobbit and those books. So where do you go from there?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I think the design of Gollum looks really weird too.
Suicide Squad killed the Justice League. From Rocksteady, the same people who make the Arkham series of Batman games.
Mm-hmm.
Which I love the Batman games. I'm not sure how I feel about this.
Yeah, this takes place in the same universe as the Arkham games. Um, yeah, I'll probably wait for reviews for this one. I do think there's part of it that looks good. But yeah, I don't know. And then we also had Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which is going to be made by the people that made Friday the 13th game. So just a short teaser trailer of that was released. And we got this thing that I was like, what the hell am I watching? And I don't think I'm going to play this game. It's called Slitherhead.
Yeah, from the
Slitherhead?
people from the Silent Hill creator.
Yeah, no
Um,
thanks.
um, the video is actually age restricted. You can only watch it on YouTube because it has to verify that you were over 18. Um, I'm not really into horror games much. I enjoy horror movies, but I don't really do horror games. But if this is your thing, sure, why not? Um, Final Fantasy VII Remake coming to PC. I'm not into Final Fantasy games, but um, a lot of people are, so sure, rock on.
Star Trek Resurgence is a third-person choice-driven game set in the Star Trek universe. coming in 2022 from Dramatic Labs, which is a studio made up of Telltale Games veterans from when that studio shut down. Though Telltale Games is now also got bought by somebody else and got revitalized. So, but some of their vets went over and made Dramatic Labs, and they're working on a Star Trek game. While Telltale is making an Expanse video game based off of the Amazon Prime series, The Expanse, and also the book series. It's developed by Telltale Games and also with Deck 9, who created Life is Strange True Colors.
Dune, Spice Wars, real-time strategy game. Honestly, I don't do RTS games much. I did Command and Conquer way back in the day. I did a little bit, and I can do a little bit of Advance Wars because that one's kind of cool for me. But RTS games really just aren't my thing. And then not really into Dune. But apparently the movie this year was a lot better received than people thought, so sure.
I like real-time strategy games, but I haven't seen Dune, so I'm not sure if I would pick this one up. We got a Sonic the Hedgehog 2 trailer for the movie. We got a Halo trailer for the TV show that's coming to Paramount Plus. Did you get to see that at all? Looks pretty good.
I didn't. I should watch it, but at the same time, like they've been trying to make a Master Chief movie or TV show for
15 years.
Yeah, since 20 since Halo Combat Evolved came out. It could go either way. I think it's coming on Amazon. I think, or no, was it
Paramount Plus?
Paramount Plus, yeah. The one good thing is they'll give it a budget. They're gonna try and make it. They're gonna try and make it as big of a series as they can. So I don't think it'll be as bad as it could have been like 15 years ago. And especially now that you do have, they've shown The Witcher, did pretty well on Netflix. The Last of Us is coming to HBO, so maybe like a limited series type thing is better than a movie for some of these video game things.
Yeah, I mean, I saw the trailer for it, and this has been in kind of development hell for a while. But I think it looks like it has a budget. It looks huge. Like it was originally going to be on Showtime, I think originally, and it got
like
moved
5 or 10 years ago.
Yeah,
or something
yeah.
Like.
But I think they've had the rights for it this whole time, and they kept developing it for Showtime, and then. Showtime is also owned by the people that own Paramount Plus and CBS Viacom stuff. So I think they just wanted to move it to their subscription service. But I mean, it looks great from what I was able to see of it, and the Master Chief suit looks great. So we'll see how it goes. I'll definitely watch it when it comes out.
An expansion for Cuphead. DLC is available June 30th, 2022 on whatever you can buy Cuphead on, which is just about everything. Never played Cuphead. It's probably one of the few indie games that I've looked at that I've thought about playing but just never got around to. Looks fun. I've heard there is a difficulty spike somewhere in there, but if you can get through it, people really seem to enjoy it. The original Cuphead did get a lot of good reviews, so you never know.
Jeez, yeah. I mean, that's most of the big stuff, right? I mean, I'm looking at some of this list, and I'm not really sure on... I think Nightingale looked weird.
Honestly, the biggest thing and the best thing so far, I haven't seen it, but I've heard nothing but phenomenal things about it, is The Matrix and Unreal 5.
Yes, I played a little bit of that. So, I mean, it's not really, for people that don't know, it's not really a game. It is just like kind of a tech demo of what can be done here. And it is impressive with what they can do in Unreal Engine 5. And what I would really like is for them to, I think I said this last week, to make a Matrix game with this new movie coming out, but to you can make something in Unreal Engine 5 like this. You have the basis around it, and now you can... I mean, some of the stuff looked like Uncanny Valley at times where, you're like... they played a scene from The Matrix, but it was with the CG models, and it was very tough to tell if it was the models or the real actors, and they had Keanu and Carrie Ann Moss in it at the beginning, showing everything off, and then you kind of get a chance to just run around the city afterwards and kind of do whatever you want and drive around in a car. Like I took a car, I drove around, I crashed in it, and it felt like it felt like it actually had like impact with the crash. Like it just was pretty amazing with that. But after that, I went and played an actual game, after that, because you can only do so much of the, just wandering around a city type of thing. But it looks really great graphically.
That's what I've heard. Like I said, to me, there wasn't a lot to be excited about during this. Part of it is just my preferences on things. Part of it, I think, honestly, might have to do with just still being in the pandemic and kind of people don't really want to make these massive announcements or anything right now. I heard there were supposed to be one or two other things that got pulled at the last minute and other stuff got substituted in for it. So maybe once, if we ever kind of come out of this cloud, things can change up a little bit.
Yeah, I hope so. But yeah, I guess that's about it, right? There's not too much else that was really big news or anything. If anybody wants to look up the rest of the stuff that was announced, there's some little stuff. But yeah, looking forward to some of these games coming out and see what I get for Christmas, because I asked for a few games and hopefully some money. Maybe I can get some of these games for cheap now. That's the holiday time.
I think for the next couple months, between after Christmas sales and gift cards and sales because of tax season coming up, you should be able to get some stuff pretty cheap if it's something you've wanted already.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to all of that. And if you want to give us a follow on Twitter, you can reach us at Pixel Pals VG Pod, and Facebook is at Pixel Pals Pod. And we'll catch you next time. We'll talk some, I guess, just some stuff that we'll figure out in the meantime, what we're going to talk about, because probably not too much news happening after the Game Awards before we reach, early of next year. So, thanks for listening and have a great rest of your week.